Yeah.
1b, which is y equal to root of 5 minus x squared. So to start with this one, what type of equation is this? Semicircle. Where is that semicircle? Y is positive. Y is positive, that means?
That way.
That way. Good. What is the radius?
Root 5.
Root 5. Good. Now we're able to find out the domain range? I suppose so.
What's the x squared?
X squared. This one?
Yeah.
Oh, it's always x squared. There's a
No,
semicircle.
this one.
Oh, that one. There is no square?
No.
No. Oh, C. Is that question
C is no square.
Oh, I'm looking at E.
And
Okay, C. Okay. Right, not E. Question C. Question C, you have y equal to root 5 minus x. So you do not know what type of equation is this, but doesn't matter. What's the rules inside the square root? What's the this number has to be? It must
5. X equals 5.
in general, what must this number be? Can this number be 0? Yes, it can be 0. Can this number be negative?
No.
No. Remember the root. Number in here, this number must be positive. Positive means it must be greater or equal to 0. It can be 0. So the way to solve it, you are going to have 5.
Oh.
Yeah. So that means 5. Or you can write x less than or equal to 5. Good? Yeah. And then you have question G.
G.
Yeah, G is the same rule. Because it is on the denominator. That means it can be greater than 0 without the equal. So G is y equal to 6 minus x. So you are going to say the number inside the root. That means 6 minus x greater than 0. Yeah, and therefore 6 greater than x.
Is it not greater equal to?
Because denominator cannot equal to. That is the two rules. Numerator equal to 0, denominator just greater. Okay? And then the next one you have y equal to 4 minus 3x minus 8. Is that your next question?
Yes.
Yeah. So this one you shift it, is an absolute value. So you shift it to the right by 8 on 3. Yes, so you shift it to the right by 8 on 3. And then you shift it up by 4, which is this point. And it go upside down because it's a negative.
Okay.
Yeah. So that means it go from minus infinity to 4.
And K.
Okay. Okay, so log graph supposed to look like that. Now you shift it to the right by half. Yes, so the asymptote. This number is supposed to be at 1 here. Now shift everything to the right by half. So that means asymptote is at 0. Now asymptote is at half. And this point is at 1.5. So you have a curve that way. So that means your domain is going to go from a half to infinity. So a half is not included. That's your domain. Good? Okay, and then the next page, what is the question you have? The one in
3.
question 3?
Yeah.
Okay, solve them individually. The one with the square root, what's the rule we just said?
Can't be equal 0.
It must be greater than
0.
Yes, so you are going to have 3. This is question 3. 3 plus x greater than 0. So that means x greater than minus 3. And the other one is 2 minus 3x greater or equal to 0. That means x is less than or equal to 2 minus 3. Now you draw a number line. You need to satisfy both of them, this and that. So x greater than minus 3. So if I have minus 3 in here, greater than, so it goes this way. Yeah. And x less than 2/3, less than equal to, we go that way. So the overlap sections is between here.
So you remove that.
The rest. So your answer is minus 3. X in here. Okay, your 23, 22, that is which?
21.
Is that 7? What
Page
paper is
4.
that? Okay, paper 7, yeah. Any other questions?
2.
2?
No, I got 2.
You got 2?
I got 2.
Yeah, okay. So is that it for that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, all clear? Okay, good. Now, Ariza was asking about paper number 7 functions. So if you look at the functions, questions 20, is that 21 or 22?
21 and 22.
21 and 22. Okay, let's look at question 21.
I know that it has to be like the midpoint,
Yeah, the midpoint.
not the like of the
Yes.
2 points.
Mm-hmm.
But then I didn't know what to do after
Okay, in here, let's draw it up as what we go. So the diagonal of the rhombus meet at the point. So I'm going to draw a rough diagonal, rough rhombus, and this point meet at the point of minus 1, 5. Yep, that's what I know so far. That's the first statement. And one of them is parallel to 2x minus, okay, so presume I'm thinking of this line is going to parallel to this one given to us, which is 2x minus 5y equals to 3. Is that all good? Yep. So that will help me by having this equation talking about parallel. What's the things that you are going to think of? Parallel?
Gradient.
Gradient, good. So how do you find the gradient for this term? Rearrange the equations, make y the subject, is that right? So let's make y the subject. So you have 5y, yep. So y equal to, yes, I do have the gradient, which is, that means the gradient for this line is going to equal to 2/5. Now, having gradient, having a point, can you find these equations? I suppose you do. Yes, let's find the equations. Now you can find this equation because you know the gradient, you know a point. Put in the gradient point formula. Let's find that one out.
Y equals 2/5x plus 27/5.
Okay, so y equal to 2/5x plus be 7 over 5. Yeah. Okay. Now that is one diagonal. And can you also find out the other diagonal, which is that one? What is the gradient for this one?
They equal -1.
Yes, so if this is 2 on 5, that means m perpendicular will equal to -5 on 2. Yes, okay. Using that, find out the equation again.
-5/2x plus 15/2.
Okay. Well, that sounds pretty good. So you can write it. So this equation is 1 equal to -5/2x, and then you have.
Plus 15/2.
Okay, so you have those two equations. Now, is that all good? Yeah.
Yes, and then it says if the two vertices of the rhombus are -310 and 99, find the coordinates of the other two.
Now, the two coordinates they given to you, one possibility is that the coordinate is like this. The other possibility, the coordinate is looking like that. So if the coordinate is like this, that means the midpoint of those two should give you this one in here. So if I just mentally try to calculate the midpoint of those two, so 9 minus 3 or 9 plus -3 divided by 2, that is going to give you 3, which is not going to give you -1. So that means the two coordinates given to you should be one of them here, which is -310, and then the other one should be there, which is 9 and 9. Yeah, since you know the midpoint, you can call this point something you do not know. I can call it A and B. Yeah, and then you use your midpoint formula of these two. It should equal to that one. That's your midpoint. Then you should be able to work it out. So we have written A plus 9 on 2, and then B plus 9 on 2 should equal to -1, 5. Yeah, then we are equating it to get the A and then to get the B. And do the same thing with this one. So this point is something I do not know. I might call it as X and Y. Yeah. And then you repeat the whole process all over again.
A equals -11 and B equals 1.
A equal to?
-11 and B equals 1.
Yeah, A equal to 1. Yes, that sounds right. Yeah.
One and 0.
Yes.
And then question 22.
were given 3 point of a triangle. So just roughly draw them up. Okay, you want to find the equation of perpendicular bisector. What's the meaning of perpendicular bisector? So if I have this is the line, perpendicular, that means make a 90 degree, bisect, let me cut right in the middle. So the first point is to find out the middle. How do you find out the middle? It means midpoint. Good. Having that coordinate, yeah, find it out first. Look at this one, let's find the midpoint.
Zero.
50. Good. Right. Now I want to find the equation that is perpendicular to this line and bisect it. Perpendicular, that means make a 90 degree. You go down like this, make a 90 degree. So to find equations, that means I need point, I need gradient. So how do I find out this gradient? That means I need the gradient of that one and work out the perpendicular gradient. Yes, so find out the gradient of these two, and then you're able to find out the perpendicular gradient. Yes. So
Is the question this hard going to be in the AP exam?
not so many, probably one, or something even simpler. Yes. It's, you find hard? It's just
It's just like, I don't know what concept to use.
Okay. Okay, so for example, come back to this question again. If you read it this time, so you're looking at, is that because you do not understand the word perpendicular bisector?
No, like I just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just get lost.
Oh, because the question doesn't guide.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, if that's the case, in here, okay, because this question kind of a bit open, because I asked you to find the equation, that means you have 3 of them to find. For this one, is because I just want you to have a lot of practice. So, perpendicular bisector, you know you want to find whatever, just like what I did. I draw the triangle, I want perpendicular bisector, so I pick a point, pick a line, perpendicular bisector with this one. That means I have to cut through here. So this is the equation I want to find. If I need equation, that means I need a point and the gradient. So to get the point, because it cut through the midpoint, so I need a midpoint. To find the gradient, I do not know, I don't have 2 points to find the gradient, but I do know this one. Therefore, I find out this gradient and then work out the perpendicular using the minus reciprocal of it. Okay, yeah.
Gradient is
Minus 2. You mean the black gradient or the green?
the green.
The green, okay, and equal perpendicular equal to minus 2. So you have this, you have that, and you're able to find out the equations. And then you repeat again with the other 3 sides. The other 2 sides, yes. Oh, good?
Oh.
Yes, that's what I mean by equations. You have 3 of them. So you have one more which is going through like this. Yeah. And then you have another one which is going to go through like that. Perpendicular bisect, so it's going to, yeah. Any of these geometry questions, I would suggest is I always start with a diagram. You don't have to be precise, you don't have to like have a number plane and put it. No, it's just like the idea.
So why do after like the final?
The gradient? Yeah, because you are looking for equations. So how do you find equations?
Y equals to
what equal, if to find equation of a straight line, what is the formula that you use?
y equals to something.
Y minus y1
Oh, y minus y1 equals to
and
brackets
x
minus
x1
x minus
x1.
x1.
Yes, point gradient formula. Mx minus 2. Yes, whenever you want to find equation, that is the formula you
Okay.
use. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And then you repeat all over again with the other two. So that means you need to find the midpoint, and then you find out the gradient, do the perpendicular gradient. Oh, you got the new calculator.
Yeah, it's really hard to use.
It's very useful when it comes to the gradient side, the triple side.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when you start trigonometry is another week or so. Yeah. So what are you working on at school?
Completing the square.
Okay, and completing the square, so you're on the circle, which is what we're making. You're good in completing the square?
Okay.
Okay. Know the trick of completing the square? Yes. Just knowing the trick. Yeah. Okay, the midpoint just a second.
I think this one.
And so midpoint. And then you have 7, yep. That means you are looking at these two. Okay, the coordinate of those two is, which one? These two?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that means you can find out this gradient, right? Yeah, find out that gradient first, then do the perpendicular gradient. The top is y2 minus y1. Yes. Are you good?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And that will be perpendicular, which is minus 2. Without the 1. The perpendicular gradient. No, this one is wrong. Without the minus. Is that minus here?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, so you have the minus. Right, but the perpendicular gradient of minus 3 will be?
3.
Yes, so we have 3 in here. Okay, then part 2 of it, where you are going to find the show that they meet on the same point. So you have 2 equations. Use 2 equations to solve simultaneous equations to find the coordinate. Any 2 equations. Okay, use any 2 and then solve the simultaneous equations. Yeah. Okay, now the second question. this is asking, okay, you've got one more equation to find out, right? Okay, then you show that they meet at the same point. So you want to see they all meet at the same point. So what you are going to do is, you have this equation here, you have that equation there. So solve simultaneous equation on these two and find out where they intersect. Midpoint, the point that you found out here is going to be the center of the circle. And the radius is going to go from this point, whatever the point you found out, to any of this. That is going to give you the radius. Okay. The coordinate you just found out is the center of the circle. What is the coordinate you have?
1, 2.
1, 2. And to find equation of circle, that's what we are going to touch today. It's going to be x minus h squared, y minus k squared equal to radius squared. So the center is going to be these two, and then the radius is the distance between the center to one of the points. This is going to give you the radius. Yeah. Any of the point that you already found out, you have given to you one of the points from the center of the circle. Oh, your number 9 is 8. Did I give you the answer? Yes. Okay, so your first equations is, what's the equations? Okay, 2x y equal to, the first equation is not right. Okay, your point is 5, 0, and the gradient is -2. -2x plus 10. So we have this one is 2y. That's the perpendicular. Just one second. 2 minus 2 is 4. 4 on the gradient. 4 on 2. This is okay. This one is not the perpendicular gradient. That one is just that gradient. That will be 4 on 2. That will give you yeah. Because this gradient in here, this line is going to be 2 plus 2, and then 6 minus 4. This is going to be 4 on 2, which is 2. So the perpendicular gradient actually is minus a half. That perpendicular gradient, that's the first one. Yeah.
C is wrong apparently.
C is wrong.
Because I got all negatives.
All
and-
negative.
Wait, no, like, so I did. Is this right? Like, I don't know.
X minus your x minus 1.
No.
No.
4.
Oh, no. This is your center.
Yeah.
Your center is wrong.
I used the points.
You use, yeah, the point that you just found out, this one.
That's the
Intersect-
midpoint.
I mean, where is your intersecting point? I think this is your intersecting point, right? This
Yeah,
is,
the middle point.
yes, the point in the middle.
Am I supposed to use that?
Yeah, the center of the circle.
Oh, I thought I was
Yeah.
supposed to use the other thing.
Yeah.
So I'll do.
Okay, and yeah, the
Radius.
radius. Yeah, the radius is go from this point, which is 1, 2, to one of those points. Yeah. One of those. Yeah. Find the distance. A half x minus 5 on 2. Or plus 5 on 2.
Plus 5 and 2.
Yeah. Okay, so if you times it, so you have 2y. Okay, so that is your equations.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you solve simultaneous,
This is incorrect.
yeah, that one should be, yeah.
I got it wrong again.
And what's your you need to find the distance, not coordinate. The distance, use distance formula.
I'm so confused.
Radius. Radius is the distance from this point in here is 1, 2, right? That's a point. And this point in here is minus 3, 5. Can you find the distance?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is what you are going to do. And that number go into here.
Yeah. So it's 4
Is going to be 4
minus 4.
positive
Positive?
distance formula.
Oh my god, I'm so stupid.
Distance formula.
Yes.
Right. Now it click.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
able to find out the distance between them. So do you think you can continue on? Yeah. Okay, so we are going to look at this section, which is circle. To do completing the square, let's refresh it. So if I give you x squared plus 4x minus 1, if I want to do completing the square, what you are going to do is, this is a plus, I'm going to do that to start with, right? Yeah, so x go down, half of this number, which is a 2, and it's always minus the 2 square, which is 4 minus 1. So this is my completing the square.
You half the 4x.
Half the 4. Yeah, write it down. And then this number square,
Half and then double.
then not double, square.
Square. Half and
Okay, so if I have question 2, if I have that worst number, which is 3 on 2, x minus 1. Okay, I still follow it, x. Okay, so let's change it to minus again. So if this is a minus, I have a minus. Half of this number, 3 on 2 divided by 2, so it's going to be 3 on 4. Okay, still the same thing, minus this square of this number. 3 square give you 9, 4 square give you 60, minus 1. Okay, so the number you have in here, this is the square of that. You square this number, that's what you get. And it's always minus, never a plus. Then that is the end of completing the square. And then put this in calculator, which is 25. Yeah, done. Oh, good. Right. Now, by looking at the equation you have equation of circle. So that means you can have x squared and you can have y squared. So if I have a question with y squared plus 4y plus maybe x squared minus 2 equal to 0. So your job is to make that equations look like x minus k squared, y minus h squared is radius squared. So you need to complete the square for the x term, completing the square for the y term. So if I look at the question I have, that y term, yes, I need to complete the square. The x term, I don't even have an x, I only have an x squared, so do not need to do completing the square. All good? So by looking at that one, that means the next step I'm going to have will be, if I'm completing the square, y plus 2 squared minus 4, and then you plus it by x squared minus 2 equal to 0. All good? Yeah, that is not your question. This is not your question. Okay, you don't have to, you can do it later. So that means you have y plus 2 squared. Right. And therefore your center of the circle, there is no number for this one. That means it's x minus 0. So the center is going to be minus 2, 0. And the radius is root of this number here. Okay, now you can do completing the square for yours one.
3.
Right, 3. Let's see some of that. All the constant go to the right hand side. That's it. That's it.
Is that one right?
Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. This one's right.
No, the one
Oh,
below.
the one before. 10, 15. This is a one square. So. Oh, sorry. Okay, and the second part of it is where you deal with absolute value. Now, that question I want to solve graphically. That means in your solution, you need to sketch the graph. Okay, so to sketch the graph, I'm sure you're going to look at it is more like this. You're going to think of it as two different equations, the equation on the left-hand side, the equation on the right-hand side. The one on the left, this equation is y equal to x minus 1. The one on the right is y equals to 3. I'm going to sketch both of them. So number plane to start with. Yep, first step. Step 2, that means if I have y equal to x minus 1 absolute value, you know it's going to shift to the right by 1. Is that right? So your curve is going to shift to the right by 1. Cut it at 1 in here, and then this is 1 in there, and then it go up like this. That it is y equal to x minus 1
We
absolute.
sketch both of them.
You need to sketch both of them on the same graph. Right. And then you have y equal to 3. 1 is here, 2 here, maybe 3 is here. So y equal to 3 is a straight line going horizontally. Go that way. And your job is to find out where they meet. That means simultaneous equations, that means intersecting point. So your job is to find out what is this and what is that. Okay. By looking at this graph, the red equation we know is y equals to 3. And the absolute value, let's look at this really carefully. The one on the right hand side, take positive gradient, is that right? So I'm going to think about these equations. Don't worry about the absolute value. Positive gradient, that means the absolute value must take the positive side. That means I have y equal to the positive, think of it this way, positive of x minus 1. Let's give me x minus 1. And this branch in here, I'm taking the negative value of it. So that will give you y equal to minus x plus 1. All good? So to find this point, that means I solve simultaneous equation between this and y equals to 3. So that means your working out will be minus x plus 1 equal to 3. And that will give you x equal to minus 2. Yes. To find this coordinate, the simultaneous equation will be this, with that, which is x minus 1. So you have two solutions. So to solve this, that is it. All good? Yes, sketch the both graph and look at the graph. The absolute value equation become two different equations. The one take the positive, that means you have it as positive x. The one take the negative, you have negative x. Okay, try the next one. If you turn over to the next page, you have another one on the top. So the really first thing is sketch the equation y equal to absolute value of 2 minus x. So that means you shift your curve to the, how do you shift that curve?
To the Right.
Right by
2.
yes. You shift the curve to the right by 2. And then the right hand side of the equation taking the positive gradient. So if I look at the equation, I have 2 minus x. 2 minus x is negative gradient, right? That will be on the left. This one is 2 minus x. Yeah, because that is negative gradient, minus x. The one on the right is going to take the positive, so I'm thinking of minus 2 minus x, which is positive gradient. Clear with that? Yeah. And my second equation is y equal to 7. Yep, so 7 is somewhere in here, this is your 7. And you solve your simultaneous equation between the straight line with y equal to 7. So you have 2 equations to solve. You get this one.
How is that the positive side?
This one, not the positive of the equation. You are not thinking of positive of 2 minus x. I'm thinking of this is negative x. That means the line have to face it this way.
Oh, okay.
Yes, the positive side actually is the negative side for these questions.
Okay.
That's why I make them 2 different questions. Yeah. Mm. The next questions I don't ask you to solve graphically, I ask you to solve algebraically. So that means you do not need to sketch it. So you are going to start with 2 equations as usual. One side is positive, one side is negative, right? So now which side is which, it doesn't matter. So you are going to start with positive, which is, keep it as 2x minus 5 equal to 3. Or the negative one, which is negative of 2x minus 5 equal to 3. I'm sure you can solve that equation, isn't it? Yeah. So always have a positive or the negative.
I got 8 on 2 and 1.
8 on 2
It's
and
4.
8 on 2, which is 4. Yes, yes.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
and 1.
I got
Minus?
Negative.
Yeah, it should be minus. So you have minus.
Oh yeah,
2x.
minus 1,
Yeah.
minus 1.
Mhm. Is that minus 1? No, it's a positive one. Because 5 minus 2, 3 minus 5 is minus 2, so it's positive 1. You're right. Minus 2, so x equal to what? Yeah, it's a 1. Okay, get the idea? So I want you to finish off the rest of this page as your homework. So I want to flip over to the next page where we are going to do the sketching. Yeah. Okay, the rules of sketching. So if I give you y equal to f of x, okay, if I told you the f of x is, look like that. This is my f of x. If I want you to sketch y equal to minus f of x, so that means you are going to reflect this curve down on the x-axis, okay? So if you reflect it, it's going to go like this, that way. And if you have it as y equal to f of minus x, when you are going to flip the right to the left. So you are going to have it. Last one. That means you have to flip it left to right and then flip it up and down. So let me see up and down. How good? So that's what you're going to do. Whatever is on the, you have a minus of the outside of f of x, and then you flip it down, you reflect it down.
Can we just draw it on the same graph?
Yeah, draw everything on the same graph. If you want to do it, can color code it, yes, with using different color on each of them. So that is y equal to f of x. Yeah. Y equal to minus f of x. Yeah. Y equal to f of minus x. After you've done the first one, I might want you to flip over. Let's try some of the harder one on the next page. Yeah, that one has to intersect on the x-axis. Yes, that's correct. That's correct. Yeah.
These ones are the same, right?
Yes, yes. I want to try the one on the last one there.
Do I need to start further away?
Further, what do you mean further away?
Like, do I start like over here?
Yeah. Which curve are you sketching?
Y equals minus f of x.
Minus and y. That means you're flipping this way.
Oh no, sorry, this one. Minus.
Yeah, minus f of x. That means you're flipping upside down. Oh, you are doing better now.
I'm doing this way.
Oh, this way. Oh, you have these two the same. The minus should be in here. Yes. Yeah. F of minus x. Yeah. So that means you are thinking of this way. This one go into this way. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah. Yes. Yep. Okay. So if you end here, that means you should end this one in there. Because you see?
Oh yeah.
Yes. That's how it should end at the same point.
It's going down like that.
Which one are you sketching?
They're flipping down.
Flipping down. Yes. Oh, wait. Flipping down. This point will be the intersection.
Like that.
Yep.
And then
So we are thinking of it like flip this one, this side, upside down. And now we are flipping this little curve upside down. So the little curve in here will be on top. Okay, cut on the x-axis will be the intersecting of the flipping, right?
like that.
Yes, that point must cut. And then this point, yes.
Essentially.
Okay, so you need to end at that point. Find out the coordinates, put it into here, and it doesn't have an arrow. Yes.
How do I find the vertex?
You can, because you know the midpoint,
Uh-huh.
so it cut it at what's it, -3.
Minus 3.
and 1. The midpoint is going to be at 1. Yeah, put the minus 1 into here.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have 1 equal to minus 1, minus 1. So you're going to have it at minus 1. So you don't have an arrow for this one, make sure you end at that point. So you have a curve that's going to like this and end it because it's go from minus 4 to 2.
Oh.
Yes. And Jess, I want to label the coordinate, which is, yeah. That's right. And now we can flip it. We have minus f of x, that means the whole thing need to flip.
Do you do another graph?
No, draw it. Yeah, you can draw it on the same graph. Yes, you don't have to draw a separate one. So flip everything upside down. Yes, flip upside down. So that means my curve has to go. This one is minus 4, so minus 5 will be right here. This is going to be my point. And this one is going to be my point here. And these 2 points have to be the same.
Yeah, I accidentally didn't go through that.
Yeah, you have to go
Do I
through
have
it.
to redraw it?
Make sure you label that you have to go through that because when the
Yeah, I
teacher
know,
marking it,
yeah.
they are going to look at that point. So this is going to be a 4 in here. This is the point. So you have to go through it. And this point where it intersects is x equal to 0, that is 3. So the curve should look like. Make sure you make it very clear where it intersects the y-axis and the x-axis. Yes, that's right. Okay, then the next one is f of minus x. That means left to right. So normally I would just cut it into 2 sections, left to right. This one in here now become that one there. Is that right? So I'm going to kind of starting from 2 and here, this point, and I come down here and I go here. Yeah, and then this point is going to flip over here, and that point is going to flip there. Yeah, so I have all my dots. Yeah, so this is that, this one is that one, this one is the cutting point. So let's draw that. Yeah, this. So there's a left to right. And then you have upside down again.
My drawings are very bad. But
Don't
Make sure
worry.
you understand.
yeah, I
okay?
understand.
Yeah.
At least
My
yours is
drawings
in
are
colour,
really
mine's
bad.
in.
That's at least neat.
Not really, not really.
Okay, all good?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So just make sure you know completing the square. What we need to know today is completing the square, how to write equation of a circle, and how to solve absolute equations, and then how to sketch the graph with negative f of x, f of negative x, negative f of negative x. Okay, 4 of them. Okay, next piece of paper, which is proportions. Okay, this one will be in your coming up assessment. Okay, your equations in maths, pretty straightforward. You were going to have 2 unknown. Yeah, 2 unknown is going to be mentioned in the questions. And whatever come first normally come on the left hand side of the equations. Whatever come later is going to be on the right hand side of the equations. Okay, if you look at the number plane, this one. I'm written there. This side in here is called the dependent. And this one is the independent. Okay. If in the questions they told you the x is the independent, so make sure you have x in here. If they told you the t is independent, make sure your t is in here. Okay? So if something is independent, this one is on the right hand side of the equations. Dependence is on the left hand side of the equations. Okay, if you want to write this, dependence equal to something independent. Yeah. All good? So this is some basic things that you need to know. And then we can start writing the equations. Okay, so when you read the wordy questions, two words I want to pick up again. One is proportions or directly proportions. The other word is inversely proportions. Okay, so if I have this as my y, this is my x. If I say the y is directly proportional to x. So if I say directly proportions, I'm going to have y. Yep, to start with is proportions using these symbols. Directly proportions is that. This is how you write directly proportions. Y proportion to x. So from proportions to, okay, so this one is y. Yeah, this is how I write. And then you change the funny symbols into the equal sign. So you are going to write y equal to k times x. Always a constant variable in here. This term is always a constant variable. That is what it is called.
That's inversely.
Directly.
Oh.
Directly proportions. Yeah, this one is directly proportions. Okay, the next one you are going to have is y is inversely proportions. To x. So you are going to have y, proportion sign again, inversely, that means it's 1 on x. That's how you are going to write it. Inversely proportions. Then write it into the equal sign. So you are going to write it as y equal to k over x. Now you put your constant variable on the top of the equations and you have your x on the bottom. Okay, the meaning of directly proportions, that means when x is increasing, the y is increasing. Inversely proportions, that means when x is increasing, the y is decreasing. That means they go the other way around. Okay, so that means the inverse, direct, that means both of them increase, both of them decrease. All good? Yes. Okay, now let's look at the very first question I've given to you, the wordy one, very, very wordy. Okay. Worry? Get lost? Yes. So I want to pick up main word. So it's the question introduce you who is the independent, who is the dependent? Yes, who is independent?
Acceleration.
Acceleration is independence. So acceleration is here. Acceleration is independence. Force is dependence. So they are using F, it is using A. So dependence is on the left hand side of the equations and independence is on the right hand side of the equations. Did you see the word inversely proportion in this question? Did you see the word inverse at all?
No.
No. If you don't see that word, that means they are proportions. Okay, so F right on the left hand side equal to, or you can write proportions to accelerations. F proportion to accelerations. It doesn't matter what physics they are talking about, what chemistry they are talking about, doesn't matter. So you just follow the unknown. So change it to equal sign. So F equal to KA. Right. Now I want to read the question all over again. Now we have equations. I want to pick up a set of number they give you. They told you what is A, they told you what is F. What is the set of number that is given to you from the questions?
135
Yes.
and 9.
Yes, what is 135? What is 9?
The force.
Fourth is, yeah, good. Your job is to sub it in. So you know it's 135 and K you do not know, your A is 9. Then you're able to find out the A, isn't it? And the K. Right, do your equation, solve out the K.
50.
15. Right, so far what we have. Okay, this is our step 1. Always write out. Step 2 is always sub in the number, find out the K. Step 3, rewrite your equations, replace the K. That is your step 3 step. And now, having step 3, we literally do not look at this one anymore. Okay, don't look at this at all. Don't look at this. Okay, so ignore all of this. This is where you're beginning of the question again. Look at, okay, I did not answer the question. The first question, the constant variable, which is 15. Yes, your constant variable is 15. Yep, this question I got you. And then the part B, write the equation relating F and A, which is this one. Okay, having that equation, we are going to look at this one all the time. And question C, substitutions. What is the number they will give you? What is the number you want to find out? Given to you,
225.
225 is the, should I put in the F or false? Yes, put 225 in the false. Then you're able to find out the A. Yeah, question C, you're going to 225 equal to 15A. So that means you're able to find out the A. 15. Right, you found out the 15. Okay, that's done with that questions. Question D, go back to this one again. And what are you going to sub in this time for question D?
Sub.
Yeah, A equal to 10.
10.
Yeah, sub it in.
F equals 150.
Yeah, so you have that. That's done. And the last one is sketching it. Okay, so by looking at this equation, this is a straight line. It's more like I want to think about is y equal to 15x. Can you sketch y equal to 15x? I'm sure you can. Yeah, so number plane. This is your F now. Yeah, and this is your A. That's what we know. This is your 0. And of course, this equation starts from 0, 0. So this is a point. And they also give us one point. You know the point of 9, 135. 9, 135. I just randomly put in one point. Label the coordinate, 9, 135. Then draw a straight line, keep going up. It never stops. And done. Is that all good? Yeah. So the first question is, look at the questions, what come to the left hand side, what go to the right hand side of the equations. Is that proportions or inversive proportions? Okay, read question 2.
Are they in proportion?
So say again.
Are they in proportion?
They are proportions, yes. What type of proportions is this? Can you read more detail?
Varies.
Varies. More after that sentence, varies.
Square root.
Square root. Square root of the height. You're talking about D. What are the two unknown?
D and H.
D and H. Yep. So you have D and H. Proportions. So this is what we start. D, something to do with H. Proportions. And there are more detail on this one. Varies as the square root. Square root of the height. Square root of the height. Does it make sense? Yeah. And write it as an equal sign. that's our step 1, right? Step 2, find the number and sub it in. So we can know what is the what is the k. What is the number given to us?
125 and 40.
Yeah, put it in. Who is 125? 125 is the
High.
high. Put the h as 125 and the d is 40. And then find out the k.
This is for A, right?
Yeah, for A. Yep. Yep. You need to find out the k first.
3.6.
Yep, that's fine. You have that number. Yep, that is part A. Rewrite the equations. That is the relationship between D and. Is that what you have?
Yep.
Yep. And that is part A. Yeah, part B. Now we are ignoring any of this. Okay, so they are no longer important. This one not important. Look at this one. So in number.
36 root 5 over
36 root 5. What is 36 root 5 over 5? Oh, because the number I give you in terms of root, is that right? The answer. Yeah, so that means I have a k as a root term. So if you have it as a root term, you have 40 equal to k root 125. This is 5
5. I'm
root
talking
5.
about B.
Okay, yeah, because I use the k as a constant. So you have 45 root 5 equal to k. Yeah, if you have it as decimal, that's totally fine. You don't have to have it as a, you have 8, that's a 8 on root 5 equal to k. So you have d equal to 8 on root 5 times by root of 20. That will give you distance equal to 16. Yeah. You can totally sub in h as number. Use the exact value you get from the part A.
How do I do that?
This is a h one.
Oh, yes, sorry.
What do you mean by the effect of doubling the height?
Okay, we are going to look at that. So we have, yeah, h equal to times this one whole divided by 8 down. You want to make h the subject, that means you can divide 16 divided by this time, is that right? Yeah, and then square it. Okay, the next question is, hopefully you didn't get question like that. So by squaring it, so what it means is that if you double the height, so my height is going to be double. So you are going to have d 3.6 root of, I become 2h. Okay, so that means this is my O1, this is my O1. Okay, so and my new one in here is going to be, what will be the distance of the new? Is going to be 3.6. This is root 2, and then you have root h, isn't it? So the new distance is going to be, if I rearrange this one, I can write as root 2, 3.6 root of h. Is that right? Yeah? That means the new distance, when you double the height, the distance is going to multiply by root 2. Yes, that is what the answer is. So you multiply the distance, multiply by root 2. That will be a very tricky questions if you get that. Yeah. And the question you should get normally should be a linear, which is a straight line. Just like question 1. Okay, yeah. Right, and question 3. Yeah. Proportion or inversely proportions?
Inverse.
Inverse, good. So you are talking about, what are the 2 things you talk about in here?
Hours and kilometers.
Okay, hours and kilometers. So what is the unknown you are going to use? For hours, you are going to use
Time. TNS.
TNS. Yeah, time and speed. Yes, yes. Hour means time. Good. You can write T and S. T proportions to inversely speed. Yeah, T and S. And then you put in your constant variable, which is a K, on the top. So you have T equal to K on S. Step 1 done. Yeah, step 2, find a pair of number, put it in.
Would you do the 5 hour and the
80.
Yeah, 5 hours and the 80. Yeah, put that in. Then you're able to find out the K. Good. Yep, you write the equations. So you have T equal to 400 over S and use that from there on.
T equals 4?
Yeah, I suppose so. Yep. This is faster, that means less time.
Four hours.
4 hours, good.
How do I do 4?
What is that proportion or inversely proportions?
Inversely.
Inversely, what are the 2 unknown that you have?
Plus pumping the radius.
Something to do with
Pressure.
pressure. So I'm going to use P. Yeah, inversely proportion, right? So that means 1 over radius. And I did say something about the radius. Square. Make sure you put that in. Yep, you have R square. Yep, put in your constant variable. Yep, and then the rest is substitutions. Okay, we only have 1 more piece of functions to go. Expect to finish it today, but we did not manage to do that, so we only have 1 more. Okay, so next week will be our last week of functions, then you can move on to triple. Okay, this week what I want you to do is make sure you revise your, what is that? The linear thing again. Yes, the equation of straight line, midpoint, gradient, make sure you remember all of those. And especially the second part of that paper. The second part where you have given you the, what is that? The profit, yes. So you haven't done the second part, right?
The which one?
The function 7.
I did that one.
Yeah. So make sure you complete that one.
Okay.
That one will be normally exam type questions.
That's quite easy, isn't it?
Yes.
It's like standard.
Yes, that's overlap with the standard. Yeah. So make sure you try it out for that part.
Will I keep the square for this one?
Keep the square. Oh yeah, then you squaring it in
Okay.
10 or 9. Yeah.